I did share this with a group. Ben Davidson, the Suspicious Observers. Now it's the Space Weather News. Now his channel's renamed Space Weather News. But um, my wife and I went to uh, a little meeting they had in Phoenix, and I guess this was winter of early 2024. And during the question and answer session, after they had their speakers, I shared this little thing. I shared that story of how there's these parallels, right? And this one guy came up to me after the conference, and he's like, "Yeah, I do remote viewing," and I don't know what to think of that. I don't know anything about that, but he shared things with me, and he's like, "Yeah, I do this, I do that, and whatever." And he's like, "It's really interesting that you say the blood moons of 2032 going to 2033 because," he said, "when I try and do remote viewing past 2033, I don't get
Nothing.
nothing,
Nothing. Nothing.
nothing, nothing."
Nothing.
Right?
No, you're right. You're right. Um, that's a really interesting topic. As there was two psychologists, or whatever the doctor version is. I'm not sure if I said it right because that's not my forte. But two doctors in that field in the military that work with my father that studied this. As if you really dig deep into the three-letter agencies, a lot of their intel and espionage resulted from remote viewing. And it's totally witchcraft. It's demonic. People, if they'll tell you something else, it's look. It didn't matter how you slice it. That is of the devil. I don't care how you name it, what you name it. It's whether people agree or disagree, but yes, every one of them, the common thread was past that date was not visible. And it's been one of the main precursors to why they have forged so hard on spending 20, 30 trillion building underground cities, thinking that they can get past this.
Right. Yeah.
Was
Another interesting thing, if you look at the logo for the Central Intelligence Agency, can I say that? Can I say that without us getting?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You look at it, and what does it look like? Does it look kind of like a red sun? And was that logo formed right after Project Nanook of late in World War II, where they found that they went up to the North Pole and perhaps serendipitously and not necessarily this is what they were looking for, they found these fossil layers where the fossil layers went from Arctic to tropical to Arctic to tropical to Arctic to
yeah,
tropical, and
yeah,
they knew something was up. And it's interesting that the logo on their quote unquote coat of arms, the shield, is a red sun. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Well, it all goes back to the pagan gods and Janus. And you're probably aware of this, but you know, the Nazis were really big into occult, and this is where almost everything in our modern era stems from. As if you reflect back on World War II in the late 30s, early 40s, the Nazis had extremely advanced hardware. Some may not understand this, but those who studied this era would know that they ruled the battlefield. If they had three tanks roll on the battlefield, they could go against 100 tanks and decimate the enemy with just three. They had jets and rockets before it was even a prototype. They had very advanced stuff. And it was my understanding this is all fallen angel stuff because Heinrich Himmler, the SS, they were part of the occult and were dealing directly with what they thought were aliens in the early 20s because they were doing seances, ceremonies, occult rituals, and whatnot. But what they were dealing with was the fallen angels. Anyways, they had ended up in Antarctica. That's where a lot of the Nazis had fled to after the war and whatnot. And they were involved in a massive underground tunneling system. I say all that to say this. the Nazi Empire did not go away. It is my belief that they merged with the United States as Nazi 2.0 and Project Paperclip. A lot of things came over, and thousands of their scientists, many of them worked their way up through the ladder in intelligence, and it gets really, really interesting if you dig.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like there was a meme out there about, hey, did you see that Marvel Comics universe sequel to the first Captain America, where they come to this underground bunker and they talk to this guy that's essentially
Nazi, yeah.
a
I
Nazi holdover, and he says, "Yeah, we've infiltrated all your three-letter agencies, and we've taken over, and
well,
this or that."
it's
And it's like,
truth.
yeah, it's that science fiction, huh?
What was it? It was it Hydra or something? Is that what they were called?
Yeah, hell, yeah, Hydra.
But
Yeah.
it's the truth. If you reflect on what Putin had said a few years ago before he went into Ukraine, many people miss this, but he said the reason we are going in is to root out the Nazis. He said this on
Mm-hmm.
TV. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
in to root out the Nazis. That same year, they were applauding a Nazi in the Canadian Parliament that was standing up talking about stuff, and it became a really big deal. A lot of pushback for the Canadians because of the Nazi. He was self-proclaimed Nazi, and they were applauding him for his socialistic, projected type craziness. But this is just a reality people are going to have to grasp because it's never gone away. We've just rebranded everything. The eugenics process is continued through water, processed food, chemtrails. Almost all the technology came through their scientists that received them through occult communications with the fallen angels. And this isn't speculation, this is just a matter of fact. But then, as you were saying when you were talking about the North Pole, is that all of that is connected, the North and South Pole. As Admiral Byrd had made trips to both top and bottom and had lots of documented evidence on this topic that was highly suppressed for many years. But, this is stuff they won't admit to, but it just is what it is.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, should we
The
save?
dream. No,
You
no, go
want to hear?
ahead.